العالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا تجعل أمورنا سهلا. Inshallah, today we will go over, explain a little bit deep about Janazah. So, but before we get to Janazah, in Islam, everything is connected. There was a time that none of us was here. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, هل أتى على الإنسان حين من الدهر لم يكن شيئا مذكورا. It has came to man a time that was nothing to be mentioned. Where we came to this world, we didn't exist, right? Now we are here in this world. Who brought us to this world? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was not that you and I wrote a letter to Allah and say, oh Allah, I want to be so, I want to be born in the family so in this time in the history. No. We find ourselves here with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is the one who created us. Allah is the one who brought us to this world. وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَحْيَاكُمْ. He gave you a life. He is the one who gave us a life. ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ. And Allah is the one who caused you to die. ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Then Allah will return you again to another. Two of the three we are missing now. We see our lives. We are alive right now, and we are there. All of us, no exception, no discrimination. Yes, as a human being, we try to not think about it, but it's going to happen. Whether we talk about it or not talk about it, whether we try to ignore it or not ignore it, it's going to happen. It is not your hand, it's not my hand. If we don't know when and how to come to any one of us, the only thing we need to take care of is to tell you what is happening, what we do, what Allah has us to do, so that we say. Now, there's a connection. We are alive, we will die, and we will be resurrected. How is our view about life, death, and life and death? Islam is connected. That's why we do our prayer. That's why we there's no ilaha illallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we give jarat. That's why we give dua. That's why we do what we are doing. Because we in akhirah. We certainly need in akhirah, and we know akhirah is going to happen. In akhirah is not in the moment that the person dies. So now, before we die, Islam teaches us to do certain rituals. Number one, a Muslim must write their will. Our Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is saying, لا يحل لامرئ مسلم أن ينام 3 ليال إلا ووصيته تحت خده. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, it is not okay a believer man and woman to sleep 3 nights without his will being under his pillow. Is you have to tell will, because we don't know how it is coming, when it's coming. We don't know. So Muslim is ready all the time. You're ready to work anytime. Because since we don't know when the time is coming, we have to be ready and prepare ourselves. So we will not regret after the fact. We don't have to regret. So for example, we are here now. If anyone of us, if you have anything, suppose, let's say, if someone informed you that you're going to die tomorrow, what are you going to do? In addition, to ask Allah forgiveness, in addition to prayer, in addition to really be who you are, put yourself together, what are you going to do? Definitely talk to your family. You will tell your family, take care of this, take care of that, make sure you, take care of yourself, you rest more. So you need to do that. If that's the case, then we should not act like as if nothing is going to happen. It's going to happen. So it's better to always be ready. Wasiyah. So wasiyah is something that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam encouraged us. Now, a question might come and say, somebody may ask, how can I do my wasiyah? Because I don't know. Alhamdulillah, we have brothers, Muslim brothers, who does wasiyah. And they do wasiyah, and in accordance of the law of the land, they state, especially if you live in Maryland, the brother will make sure that your wasiyah will be in line. And the good news is, the state will not dictate your will. You are the one who chooses how to do it. So, for example, in Islam, the Quran, Allah told us what each person gets from the inheritance. If I die, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not let me to dictate. Allah already talked about what my children and my wife, what share they get in my wealth, and how the wealth is good. It's in the Quran, in a mathematical way. You don't argue with them that this form is not going to work. So you know how algorithm came? Muhammad bin Musa al-Khawarizmi, who invented the algorithm 1,250 years ago, that even our phone and our computer cannot work with the algorithm. So that Muslim scholar, Muhammad bin Musa al-Khawarizmi, the reason he figured out the algorithm was because of the inheritance. Because the Quran said, يوصيكم الله في أولادكم للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. حظ الأنثيين is 1/3, 2/3. فإن كن نساء وغثنتين فإن الثلث ما ترك إن كان فإذا خالها من سوء واحد. So 1/6, 1/3, 2/3, 1/8, half, all is informatics. You can write the bill or even help the people without knowing the math. You have to know the math. Because sometimes, actually, if you go in detail, that's what he found out the algorithm to focus in Arabic. Like when you have a 75, there's a price. So then you divide it for 4 people or 3 people. You have to know the math. So it came inheritance. Allah made that very clear. So now they say the Islamic way. So, but if you if you have one son and 2 daughters, the son will take half. The wealth, if there's no except the 2 daughters and the son, the wealth will be divided half and half. So the son will take half, and the 2 daughters they take half, and they divide among themselves the half. 2 and a half. That's the way Quran is saying. Now, that's something we need to consider, that if you have a question and if you find help, yeah, brother, Muslim brothers who can help that. Now, let's get to the main topic today. And it's very important. Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala challenged us in the Quran with Surah 9. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, Surah 56, everything is in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talk about the moment that someone is living for this time. Do you know the Quran is saying at that moment, the person dying who sees his children, his mother, his father, his sister, his children, his brothers, the people around him, you see the people, but at the same time, simultaneously that person sees the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who take his soul. But the person cannot express, cannot say, I see it, because they are not anymore belong to this world. They belong to the hereafter. So they see in front of them the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking, walking, and pulling the soul from the body. So one of the things we will explain today, that's why the Rasul, he said, when the person is dying, make sure you the eye of the person to be covered. Yeah. You put the eyes wide. He said, فَإِنَّ الْبَصَرَ يَتْبَعُ الرُّوحَ. Because the vision will follow the soul when the soul will leave the body and the person will. So that's why the sunnah to hold this, because we don't want the person to open their mouth. So we do like this and we close the eyes. That's the sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Quran explained that the Quran said, حتى إذا بلغت الحلقوم وأنتم حينئذ تنظرون ونحن أقرب إليه منكم ولكن لا تبصرون فلولا كنتم غير المدينين ترجعونها إن كنتم صادقين. Subhanallah. Allah said, when the soul comes here in the throne, and you, a family, a loved one, you see the person with the beauty eye. And Allah said, the angel our angels taking good soul from the body are more close than the person who died than you. Because they are the one who gave the soul to the body. The person who attacking that you see them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is challenging us to say, if you can do anything, if you have any power, then why don't you keep the soul in the body? And nothing is not. Why don't you keep it? Then the Quran went to further even. What's going to happen after the soul in the body? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فأما كان من المقربين فروح وريحان وجنة نعيم. If that the person who died, if he's one of those close to the Lord, muqarrabin, the one whom Allah loved, the one who prepared themselves in their life and the dunya, they take care of what they're supposed to take care of in this dunya. They know that one day they're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's Quran called muqarrabin. He said, at that moment, the person, when the family are crying, the person who died is not in his life. He's enjoying the person. He's excited and happy. He went, the Janazah was saying, take me quickly to me home. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَمَّا كَانَ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ الْيَمِينِ فَسَلَامٌ لَكَ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ الْيَمِينِ. If that person, those who will get on the right hand, you say, فَسَلَامٌ لَكَ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ الْيَمِينِ. Peace be upon those who get their books from the right hand. On the other hand, وَأَمَّا كَانَ مِنْ الْمُحْتَدِينَ فَالِينَ. If that person who died among those who rejected the message of Allah, the words of Allah, فنزل من حميم وتصلية الجحيم. What they will happen is peace of Allah, and we will have Allah protect us. So the word is died at the moment that the person died. Now we have to go to this passage. What is Janazah? Like basically, Janazah is a component of anything. The word you can say Janazah before you give Janazah, or you can say Janazah because you put the under the Janazah, and it's a singular. Janazah is singular. Plural is Janazah or Janazah when you put them Janazah. Janazah is a comparison of three things. The person who passed away, the coffin in the box with the person to carry on to this grave, and the people who follow the person who died, who do four things that I'm going to talk about, inshallah. So Janazah is a comparison of three things. The individual who died, the box that we put the person to carry on, and the people who take care of the person, whether it's washing, praying, bathing, following. So we call it Shia. Janazah is a combination of those things. Now, to go to the topic, when a Muslim dies, it becomes an obligation upon any other Muslim who heard that so and so died, it becomes an obligation upon those who live to do for this. It is not only upon the family, no. It is upon the community. Suppose, let's say, if I die now, if I just follow me, you all know I died, خلاص. It becomes an obligation upon all of you, without exception. Those of you who know I died, to do something for me. So when you die, for things, number one, also, we will talk about the details, washing. We must wash the body. The other Muslim, we call this fard al-kifaya. In our terminology, there is a third type of fard. Fard is something that a Muslim must do. If they don't do it, they commit major sins, such as prayer, fasting, giving zakat, performing hajj. It's a fard. So there is a two type of fard. Fard al-ayn and fard al-kifaya. Fard al-ayn means something that is an obligation upon every single one of us. And no one can do on your behalf. Praying is a right upon every single Muslim, male or female, who reaches the age of puberty. It's a right. Okay. Can I say today is a moment, I'm tired, I want to, brother, pray on my behalf. Can I do that? No. We call those type of things fardul ayn, means that must every individual must do. There's something we call fardul kifaya, which basically means that if a group of believers do it, then the rest of the believers, they will be free from to be blamed. Such as Janazah, what we do today is a fardul kifaya. So it becomes, let's say, all of you think I died. It becomes an obligation on you, all of you will give the news to take care of the four things. However, if 3 or 4 of you do these 4 things, then the rest they will be to be blamed. No, there's no blame, because those 3 people they take care of what was collectively being taken care of. So we call it kifaya. If group of the community does, the rest of the community will not be blamed. So Salat al-Janazah is not kifaya. So what is the other thing? Number one, we must wash when a Muslim dies. Muslim. Number 2, وتكفينهم. We must do the shram, the kafan. We will explain how the kafan is, because we also demonstrate that as well. وتكفينهم. Number 3, والصلاة عليه. We must perform الصلاة al-Janazah, and we explain also Salat al-Janazah. Number 4, وتكفينهم. We must pay the individual. When we say 4, وصول to be washed, تكفينه, to put the dry around the person who died, والصلاة عليه, to observe the Janazah prayer, وتكفينه, and to be buried. So even for example, inshallah. Since we went up a lot of times and we were tired, I will go straight to Muslim meat. Once we know 100% of the person died, and the doctors they say this person, in America they use very good terminology that some of that they expired. It's not good. Allah honors the human being. The human being decide whether they are believers or not. Honor creation. Allah honors him. Allah said, so as a Muslim in Islam, we respect the human being. So the first thing is once we know the person died, the first thing we do to, as I say, to close the eye and the mouth of the person who died. Then when we do that, as I mentioned, the Messenger said, the video will follow the words, so we do that. Then we take the person to the funeral home with the place that we worship people. Number one, when we worship the person, of course, unless it's husband and wife can worship her husband, and husband can worship his wife. Other than that, sisters they will worship, and brothers will worship. So number one, when we cover the private part of the person. We don't expose when we are washing. Now we are in the room to wash the body. We cover the private part. We put the clothes, the private part of the person who passed away. We call it Salat. And it's not permissible. The person who washing the person who died to look their private part, their out. Similarly, when people are alive, it's not permissible. We cover up the outer. Now, the person who washes the body, they should put their hand gloves. They should use gloves. At the same time, they should use also a small piece of cloth to clean. To start with, the first things we do what we call an istinja. Istinja, like when we do our bread, regular daily bread, when we use the restroom, we use the restroom with our private part. That's the first thing. We call that first thing. We call istinja. So when you put the gloves in your hand, you put a cloth in the private part of the person, and you put the gloves, and you clean the private part of the deceased. You clean, and in the person who is washing, he put his hand in the stomach of the person. And actually, I forget when the person died, it is to put something heavy in their stomach. So that is not gonna be, we call it to avoid that is a sunnah to put something heavy. So that person and not too heavy, something that prevent the body. Especially if, but alhamdulillah, always we have a range then once you put that most likely back then they don't have everything twice a lot, they don't have where we have the technologies and all these things. So we say you put the person on the table, you cover the private parts, you put your gloves, and you clean the private parts. While you are cleaning the private parts, you just do your hand in the stomach of the person from the top to the bottom, you do like this. Just in case if something in the stomach to come out, you clean. And also, it is a sunnah not to talk about anything. Anything. If you see anything that is strange, it is sunnah not to talk about. Now, after you did this, what you do illusion. You give the person illusion. How you clean the hands of the person, and you clean the mouth and the nose of the person, and you wash the face, the face of the person, and then you wash the right hand and the left hand and the foot of the person. You will do that. You just you take like a cotton, something cotton, and then you make wet, and then you clean it up. Yeah, that's you just make wet, work, and then you clean it up. Mm. Up to the elbow. Yeah, all the way up. The hand is too fat. But when we make an ablution, the sunnah is to wash our hands and make the work and wash our nose and our mouth 3 times. And our right hand up to the elbow, our left hand up to the elbow. After we wash the face, right hand, left hand, and then masah, and then we wash our right foot and then left. So you do that. Yes. Suppose the person is probably there's a lot of eggs in the person, right? Yes. Uh, because a lot of things we need to cover. So let me finish the question.
So, but this is you have to finish, and then we have another more question.
Yes, inshallah.
Why you can question this right?
Yeah, inshallah. Then you do the evolution, and then once you do the evolution, now you have wash the rest of the body. And it's so that it's not on the right side of the body, from top to the bottom on the right side of the body. And then, meanwhile, when you wash, make it evolution and the wash, it is sunnah to use, in the early time, they used what they call cinnamon. Now you use soup, yeah. So it's a sunnah to use sauce. Sabu, yes. Then you wash the right side and you wash the left side, and then you do that 3 times. You do that 3 times, washing the right side and the left side, and the entire body 3 times. As I said, if there's any hair, you have to clean. And then the 3 times also, what you do, you actually again, you put your hand on the stomach of the disease. So just in case if something comes out, you do wudu again. Because in that situation, the first wudu is gone. Now it's a sunnah. While the person is washing the person, it is a sunnah to put some tea. Tea is any kind of perfume. Means those have the things that nice smell to put in a certain place in the body of the person. For example, we call it al-ma'atif. Ma'atif means under the arm and also on the stomach. That's any area that's hiding area in the body of the person, the ears, the fruits between the fingers, those areas is a sunnah to put the deep perfumes that have nice smell while you're washing. Now, it is sunnah. Sometimes if there's in the normal night, like you and I, if somebody eat like garlic or onion or something has bad smell, it is a sunnah not to come to the next and attend to the jama'ah. So suppose this person will die, they have a good smell. And that's why subhanAllah, our ulama, they say smoking cigarettes is haram. Because especially when someone smokes cigarette in a long time, it goes into its body and its clothes. Wallahi, sometimes if I'm praying to somebody who's a smoker, heavy smoker, sometimes I cannot pray anything. SubhanAllah. And our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, if everyone only eat garlic and onion, they should not come to the masjid. And he sallallahu said, because when disturbing the human being, disturb the angels, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if the person who died, their son is alive, and they is a sunnah to work and remove as many as you can. You may not be able to remove it, but the person will clean very well. If the person has a long, mustache, long nails, and stuff like that, it is a sunnah to cut. But any hair around the private party, we don't touch. We don't, let's say the person will die in circumstance, for example. We don't do anything if the person died in that situation. We don't also shave the hair we grow around the private part. But if the nails are long, if the mustache long, the man is a sunnah to cut the nails and shave the mustache. Now, now we talk about the cleaning the body. What is next? Kafan. Before we go to the kafan, any question? Because that's second one. Yes.
Soap while washing the body.
Say again?
Do we use any soap on the body when washing it?
Absolutely. Yeah, you use, yeah, you use soap, it should be clean. And it's simple. I don't know when they use English. Did anybody know?
What?
We say it Arabic, simple. In my experience, yeah?
Perfume, like it's kind of like a scent thing that you put for. I mean, there is no English word for it.
There's nothing more. It's some kind of, it has a nice smell, and at the same time, it's very good for, cleaning. Yeah, it's very good for cleaning. So that's any question? Sister, ask questions. Raise hand. Stars. Yeah, not if you shave completely, it's fine. Because it's the so yeah. Yes. Yes, brother. Yeah, yes.
We are washing. Somebody maybe he has.
No. The soda is only the regular part. The rest of the body should be exposed because that's the way you will know how clean the person is.
You talk about cleaning out. Yeah. So I had a situation where it was very difficult to close the house. Like it was just very hard to close it. Right? Sometimes that happens. How much do you try to do it?
It was before the person died or after the person died.
Closing the house without the person died.
Yeah, that's why the sunnah is when the person died.
Right, of course, yeah.
Yes. But after the person died, we try, we don't do, in a harsh way. Generally, if we can do it, alhamdulillah, if we cannot, then we leave it.
Once you close it, though, it's going to be hard to wash the mouth out.
It's fine.
So wash the mouth.
You just do whatever visible, it's what you wash it, yes.
The other thing I wanted to mention, but you talked about making sure the body's very clean. One of the things, if kind of situation, if you have somebody who's who you know is in the hospital and they have like tubes and lines in them, it's talk to the nurses and make sure that when you have a that when they remove all those things, that they clean as much as they can all the fluids and blood off the skin. Because if it gets very hard, and they'll make your a little easier if you ask them not.
Yeah.
They're always very happy to help. Much blood and fluid off as they can when they're doing that.
two questions. One is like when you are taking care of the body, you said wash the mouth, the face. Why we here talk about the ear? Do we have to wash the ear too? Yes. And number two, you who are taking care of the disease, do you have to take the
Just we in the ear come when we are washing the entire body. So must have it because in the wudu, making wudu in the normal time, we do must in our ears. If we don't do it, our ablution is still okay. It's a sunnah. So that's why I didn't mention it. But cleaning this is part of the washing the body to clean them. Actually, the ears are the area need more, emphasizing to clean because it has a lot of area that is hiding if you don't do it. That's why I mentioned, under the arm, between the fingers, under the knees, the ears, that area you have to be careful when you clean in details. You have to clean in details. That area.
For example, if you question for the first time and you don't know what to do and they offer assisting you, sometimes and you don't know and they tell you what you want.
100%. No. And actually, whatever you want to do,
yes.
and the person who's no, it is good to have wudu all the time, but it's not something you must have. Even after you wash the body, it is not to make a routine. But if you want, shower. But if you want to shower after you wash somebody who passed away, it is okay. You can do that. But if you don't do it, you didn't put anything. Because somebody may think, if I wash somebody will think, I must take shower. No. Yes. If the one who's in the Quran is fine, but it should be the focus should be how to take care of the person. Yes.
My question regards who about the deceased after they washed. Yeah, there was a situation I had when my grandma passed away. People who were washing her body. My dad wanted to enter to pay his respects, and he was fully clothed, and only her head was being shown. Kind of displayed that cut off when you see her. I don't know wow.
It was in the
It was in the same.
yes, the same
He was already washed. He was already clothed. The white government.
in that situation, if you're not get to that place and see here, there's no problem. But what is Islam and the Allah is viewing the body. Sometimes they bring here where we're sitting. Sometimes they bring their love here in order that everybody can view the body. That's not Islam. That's not Islam. They usually viewing means they open the face, the person. Yeah, that's not Muslim culture. That's not Muslim culture, and we should avoid it. Yes, it happens all the time, but we follow non-Islamic culture. Yeah. Family members, if they see, it's fine. It's not a problem. The Islamic way is when somebody dies, when we wash the body and put the couple, it is over. It should not be taken somewhere and open the face again and then viewing. That's un-Islamic. We should not do that. Yes. I understand.
So, said that
if the person it was Hajj. If the person was Hajj, and Shaheed was Shaheed, if the person was Hajj and he died, well, while he was instead of Haram, when we are moving kafan, we don't go on his death. The Messenger of Allah said, the day of children, the person will be distracted while he's doing tarbiyah. Yeah. Other than that, the rest of the people.
Is there anything we can't mention? Or like
Related with washing the body. Yeah. Now, let's go to the kafan. How we do the kafan is very different. Is Sister Camila here? Yeah. Alaykum salam.
So I have been with my father for the past 20 years. We started the funeral home at Universal Mortuary on Kennedy Street when I was 12. Well, I was,
Sister, can you demonstrate like Ajbi, you must do this way? No. Whatever way, even if you can bring in the person and you just sit around the person, what is important is the person to be covered with those clothes. Can I give the man, for example, qamis? Yeah. But the sunnah, the best is for man to be only the three white clothes. If somebody died, that's your question, sister. Is if a man died, the person was a muhrim. Muhrim means they were, instead of ihram, they performed hajj. So if a muhrim died, then his coffin will be the two white things that he was wearing. And we don't cover the feet of the muhrim. There was a man, it was the Sahaba, with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they were in Arafah. So his camels hit him and he died on the spot, a Sahabi. So in the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, make his coffin, his two clothes that he was wearing for the ihram, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and don't use any perfumes. Because when you are in the state of ihram, you don't use perfumes. So the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, don't use perfumes. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and don't cover his face and his head. His head and his face. Then he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْعَثُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ مُلَبِّيًا. Allah will bring him the day of judgment while he's repeating the talbiyah the way he was doing when he was alive.
In the time where haram, they will take their hand. He has to take their hand out from the floor.
If somebody died, so there is, if somebody, can you repeat the question?
I mean, in the time where haram, you take your hand out. So if he died, you have to take his hand out, or you have to put it inside.
That's a good question. But to hand your out, you make your hand out, it's not wajib. It's not something you must do, even if you are muhrim. Things that man should not cover is their head and face when they are muhrim. But I can cover when I do my ihram, I can do like this, and my hand will be covered. It's fine. It's not a problem.
Because give them ghusl.
Say again?
You used to give them ghusl, but then you just their cover, or you don't give them ghusl.
No, shaheed, they just do the same clothes when the blood is there, and then the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, the day of judgment, Allah will bring the shaheed when the blood is fresh. Yeah. Yes. Any other question?
yes.
Uh-huh.
How different is the washing of the deceased when the trauma patient, sometimes they can have mutilated, mutilated, you may not, just more accidents. Like when a deceased person is like a trauma patient or, someone who is mutilated, disfigured, all different.
Oh, that situation, you just bring it, the pieces together, and you just put some water and you put in a cloth, put some water, and they just bury the person. Yeah, because it's لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Whatever we can do, we just do it. And in Gaza now, there is some people are under trouble until today. What they gonna do? If they get if Allah gives them ability and may Allah bring peace to them, and what they gonna do? Those people, they just collect whatever remain is, and they just bring it together and do a salat. That's it. That's the only way. Yeah.
I have a second question. Can you still do janazah if like the body isn't present?
Can you what?
Can you still do janazah if the body isn't present?
It's not present. We will talk about that. Salat al-Ghaib. Salat al-Ghaib. It's coming. Yeah, inshallah.
Just one question. Like we are talking about the community. You are living in the community, and there is a community member who does not pray. You don't see her praying. When that person passes, is there any possibility you who are in the community to take care of that deceased?
That's a great question. That you will take me to explain about the different opinion of the ulama. So basically, in our faith, if someone doesn't pray, according to many scholars, he's not a Muslim. Al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Al-ahdu alladhi baynana wa baynahum as-salah, faman tarakaha faqad kafar." To many scholars, they said if the person. However, among the scholars, there is some who said, he asked a question, he said, if I want to become a Muslim today, if I'm not a Muslim, and I want to become a Muslim, should I just start praying? How do I get into Islam? To declare the Shahada. So there are some scholars, they say, as long as the person declaring the Shahada, and he's saying, I'm a Muslim, then we treat that person as a Muslim. So you see the two groups, and why some say he's not a Muslim and some say he's not a Muslim, because there is something coming out, the statement itself, it gives you build on a lot of rules by saying this or that. So if someone say he's not a Muslim, it means that we don't wash that person, we don't do kafan for that person, we don't pray on that person, and we don't bury that person in the cemetery of the Muslims. And here is something I want to tell you today, that a lot of Muslims, they are not aware of it. And I see some Muslims purchasing a place in a mixed cemeteries. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. Muslim cemetery and non-Muslim cemetery must be separated. Actually, our scholars, they talk about that. They said, يُغْسَلُ وَيُصَلَّى عَلَيْهِ وَيُدْفَنُ فِي مَقَابِرِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. If the person say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, but they don't pray, they don't fast, they don't give zakat, are we considered still Muslim? Some ulama, they say, no, he's not a Muslim. Some, they say, he's a Muslim. So if you say, he's not a Muslim, means we don't wash, we don't do Salat al-Janazah, we don't do anything. If we say the person is still a Muslim, even though he's not praying, he's not fasting, then it means that we have to wash the body if he died, we have to do Salat al-Janazah for that person, and we must bury that person the cemetery of the exclusive cemetery of the Muslims. So that there is a third group in the middle. Let me finish the third group. So now we have two groups. Is that clear? One say he's not a Muslim, means that he has nothing to do with us. We don't wash, we don't do kafan, we don't pray, and we don't send bury him in the maqam al-Muslimin. What some groups say is a Muslim, which basically means we do everything we do for the Muslims. Then in the third group, they said yustatab. We ask that person to repent and come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and start doing his salahs and what is required in a Muslim. Yustatab. فَإِن تَابَ وَصَلَّى. If he repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and start praying, then alhamdulillah, that's what we're looking for. وَإِلَّا, if he refuse, يُقْتَلُ صَبْرًا. They say he will be punished, and his punishment is to terminate it. Now after that, we treat him like a Muslim. Because he committed a sin, major sin, and the punishment will take care of. So we treat him like a Muslim. Yes, we wash his body, we do the Salat al-Janazah, and we bury him in the Muslim cemetery.
So in the regular cemetery, which we have all kind of religions, you can have a dedicated area for Muslims. Is that correct? That's what we're doing right now, beside the exclusive cemetery.
I'm not giving fatwa here. I'm just telling you this point. I will tell you my personal opinion and my what I read and what I know since I was young. As long as the surrounding area, the fence is only one fence, and there's no separate. As long as the things has the same name, there's no different names, then we consider that we don't bury our Muslim brothers and sisters. Actually, some ulama, they said, we should even find out a place in the forest and bury a Muslim person and stay to bury where non-Muslim cemetery is. And in America nowadays, all the cemeteries, even though some cemeteries like George Washington Cemetery, Laurel Cemetery, and another one in Colombia, they have a section for the Muslim community. I understand when the Muslim community was small, when the people they were new to the country, when they don't have a choice, then some ulama they say in that circumstance you may bury that area, even though the majority say no. Under innocence, that's one of the actually time that the ulama they say the body can be taken back to his origin country. Yes, that's one of the time the ulama they say it's okay to take the body to, if there is no Muslim cemetery. This is something that we Muslims, we really need to think about deeply. Islamic schools, cemeteries, those are very essential for our Muslim community. We need to find out. There was a Muslim brother, he wanted to buy 40 acres land 2 miles from here on the Hamza Avenue. So I was so excited to meet with that brother. So a brother who used to come to the class, he introduced me to him. We went to dinner, I was talking to him, and I asked him, I was so excited, I said, MC, 2 miles from MC, 40 acres land, pure Muslim cemetery? And he said, no, it's not going to be pure Muslim cemetery. He said, I will make very fancy house, and I include everything, the funeral home, the cemetery, and the people, they don't have to do, the things they do after the person died, cooking food, and people do condolence and coming. He said, I will include everything I'll do that. Once you finish everything, you do the condolence, I cook the food, I will make, commercial kitchen, so everything included. I find out this guy is a businessman. I said, well, yeah.
So if we don't have space here in a cemetery that's 100% Muslim, you're saying it's better to send the person back?
Yes, but we have here now. Alhamdulillah. We have in Virginia, we have in Maryland, in Frederick, it's 45-minute driving from here. And Firdaus, 100 acres land. The Muslims, mashallah. Yes, sister.
2 questions.
Sure.
The first one is if you have a loved one that passed and you put them in the mixed cemetery because either you didn't know, you didn't have the knowledge, or at the time Firdaus wasn't available. Are you saying that in this case, then you can move the body, let's say from Colombia to Firdaus? And the other question, the second question is, there are some folks where they're like, they're Muslim, they pray, but they don't like to pray. They pray privately, right? In that case, if that person dies, what do the scholars say about that?
Oh, absolutely. If they pray privately and they're Muslim, 100% that person is a Muslim. Look, being Muslim or calling somebody kafir or Muslim is not something easy. And we should not jump to the conclusion. We have to be extra careful. As long as someone is saying, I'm a Muslim, we have no right whatsoever to call that person, you're not a Muslim. Even if that person doesn't pray. Even if that person doesn't fast. We should not call anybody you're not Muslim. Why? Because the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, إذا قال المسلم لأخيه يا كافر فقد بها أحدهما. If you call someone you're a kafir, that word itself it will not settle without landing on someone. Either the person you call kafir is a kafir. If that person is not kafir, it will go back to the one who say is a kafir, and that will become a kafir. So it's not something easy that. So to answer your question, that question is I cannot answer that question now. I have to do some research. Yes, because I know it's a permissible in Islam sometimes to remove the remain from one place to other place. Jabir ibn Abdullah ibn Haram, his father was, murdered in the Battle of Uhud. And as you know, in the Battle of Uhud, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was putting the Sahaba together because they don't have time. It was so difficult. A lot of murders was there. So the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was putting the Sahaba 2, 3, 4 in one place. And Jabir, he said, I was feeling uncomfortable with my father to be with others. So later on, he removed his father from cemetery. And it's permissible for many reasons. So maybe based on that, maybe it's permissible to remove the person because out of ignorance, if you person been buried a mixed cemetery and to take to pure Muslim cemetery, I think it's permissible. But also if something happened out of ignorance, we don't know. And Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, رفعت أمتي الخطأ والنسيان وما استكرهوا عليه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us 3 things. If we do something mistakenly or forget something totally. Like if you forget your Salat, you just, there's no, blame upon you. You just pray when you remember. So that's something I need to, yes, sister.
Sorry, if you could just briefly explain to those who may not have knowledge, like it's not self-explanatory to me. Why is it that Muslims need to be buried separately from non-Muslims? Because my understanding is not all Muslims are going to have a peaceful gravesite. I mean, there will be some Muslims who have punishment of the grave just as the ones who are non-Muslims. So what is the difference? Like, why is that? Can you explain why we need to be buried separately?
First, we should not mix it culture with religion. Yeah, I give talk in Dayanat. That's why I was not here the whole time. And what I was talking about, my topic was, what is the difference between culture and custom and traditions and Islam? Is there any difference? Sometimes they overlap. There is some traditions and customs are in line with Islam, but sometimes not. So this mentality, sometimes when someone dies, where I grew up, the culture I grew up, they bring a wet branch of tree and they put in the grave. Why they put it? In their mind, there is a hadith. The hadith is an authentic hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one day he was passing by 2 graves, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Innahuma la yu'adhaban." These 2 graves being punished. And the reason they've been punished, they were doing something that's not a big deal in their eyes at that time. One of them, when they use the bathroom, he said when he used the bathroom or she used the bathroom, whatever that person, they don't make sure to clean themselves. They just use immediately bum bum. And something especially for man, for the male, we have to be very careful. كان لا يستبرأ من البول. One of them, that's the reason being punished. And the other one, كان يمشي بالنميمة. Gossip. He go to this person and say, oh, this person, namama. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he bring two branches of tree, a wet branch, and he put each one. So he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لَعَلَّ اللَّهَ يُخَفِّفُ عَنْهُمَا. Allah, inshallah, Allah will make easy for them as long as these two branches are wet. So now, culturally, we adopt this mentality that the person in his grave will be punished and they put in this branch. That to assume that the person being punished in his grave is bad. Why you don't assume Allah is mercy? Allah is merciful to this person. So we should not assume that. To answer your question, that taken me another hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was a lady, some Mufassirun, they say it was a lady, others they will say it was a man, who used to clean the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She used to clean the masjid al-Nabawi. She passed away. The Sahaba, they did not inform the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam that she passed away. So what they did, immediately, as soon as she passed away, they wash her and kafan and take her to the Baqi', and the hadith didn't mention what cemetery they bury her, but they bury her somewhere. And the Messenger the next day, he was looking and he noticed that she's not here anymore. So he asked the Sahaba where she is, where so-and-so is. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, she passed away and we just bury her, we don't want to bother you. And the Rasul was very angry. He said, Dulluni ala qabriha. Show me where you bury her. So they take him sallallahu alayhi wasallam where they bury her, and he started doing his prayer. He did his prayer. He looked like, and he sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, he made this statement. He said, this grave was banished, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring ease for this grave because of my prayer. And she was a cause. So if the Muslim person die and we bury in a Muslim cemetery where the Muslims, they go and make dua for them, it will benefit the dua. It will show the mercy that coming to the Muslim brothers who have been buried there. But if you bury the Muslim person in a disbeliever's grave, that they've been banished, then it may become a part of that banishment. That's the whole purpose and the reason that we separate. We bury the Muslim in an exclusive Muslim place.
So that brings us to, if I'm driving now,
Mm-hmm.
in cemetery, most of it is Dhamma, so we should not say the dua, like Assalamu alaikum, Ahla Darum. We should not say it, or we should say it.
If there is a Muslim
We don't
people,
know. Like what you said now, there is some mix, right?
if it's not Muslim cemetery, you will not say that, because you say Dara Qawmin Mu'minin. It's for the believers.
So we have to only say when there's a 100% Muslim.
If 100% we say that, but if it's a mixed one, that we need to think about it. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna say if we mix it. So
I mean, almost like 5 years ago, MCC was selling the place.
in the what?
5 years ago,
Yeah.
MCC was selling a grave on Loro. Everybody was buying.
Yes.
Okay, now that is, they say that on the right side is Muslim and the other side is Christian. Different.
Laurel, even MCC purchased some
I know that's it.
lots. I remember
No,
they
after
call
sell and
that area they call Medina. The area that exclusively for the Muslims, they call Medina, and there is a
road. Yeah.
road in between. But my concern is even that. My concern is the fans. The whole thing is in the same place. So we Muslims we need to take this very serious. We need to have our own cemeteries, and Alhamdulillah, the Muslim community, we have the ability financially. We are capable to have our own cemeteries. Each county, Montgomery County, BG County, Howard County, Baltimore County, we can have our own. And that's something we really need to think about it. I know one of the reasons is, that sometimes myself and Brother Sali, It was how many years ago? When we go to that 50 acres and we were thinking to, but
A couple of years ago.
I think that was 5-6 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, we were looking. So, may Allah make it easy for us. Now, let's move to the.
So that, we didn't finish about that,
Hmm.
That's in Medina areas.
Yeah.
Now, that's considered like a Muslim, right?
Yeah, in the Medina area as a Muslim, but I don't feel comfortable. I'm not saying this is people should be removed from home. I'm not saying that, but I'm just expressing my feeling. I don't feel comfortable a Muslim to be buried where the things that mix it.
Islamic brother, Imam has a lot of information to cover. Can we please just let him cover what he needs to cover? And we invite Sister Camilla also has a lot to share with us. So
Sure.
let's just let him finish. We invite Sister Camilla and then we'll have the rest of the day for the questions.
So I'll go very quickly. There's some things related with it. Who is the one who deserves the most to wash the body? Okay, that's number one. If the person do wasiyah, if you have a wasiyah will, and you put in your will, when I die, I want so and so to wash my body, then that will be number one. If there is no wasiyah, the person didn't write this wasiyah, so and so to wash, it becomes the father, the grandfather. If there is no father or grandfather, the son and the grandson, and on, the uncle. That's the way it is. Husband and wife, they can, as I mentioned before, they can wash each other. The husband can wash his wife, and the wife can wash her husband. Abu Bakr Siddiq, when he passed away, his wife washed him. Ali ibn Abi Talib, Fatima bint Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the daughter of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Fatima, when she passed away, her husband Ali ibn Abi Talib washed her body. So it is okay. Other than that, other than husband and wife, women must wash. Man must wash. No man, except his wife, he should not wash any, including his own daughters. Only the wife. So that's it come. The children is the father, the grandfather, and the children. Now we go to the Salah. Who is the one who deserves the most to lead Salat al-Janazah? But before we talk about who is lead the Salat al-Janazah, we need to explain Salat al-Janazah. Salat al-Janazah, it is a fard al-kifaya. If someone among the Muslim community take care of the Janazah, the rest of the community will be free from blame or sin. It's a fard al-kifaya. It's 4 takbirat. Before it's ended, the 4 takbirat sometimes used to be 6 and 5. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But in the end, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do 4 takbirat. The first takbirah is the one you start the Salat al-Janazah. Allahu Akbar. The sunnah is to be 3 lines and odd lines, 3, 5, 7 odd lines, and it's 4 takbirat. After the first takbirah, we recite Surah al-Fatiha. And then we say Allahu Akbar, that's the second one. And then after the second takbirah, we recite as-Salat al-Ibrahimiyya, the way we do our prayer, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, and we say Allahu Akbar, that's number 3. And then after the third takbirah, we make dua for the deceased. We make dua, Allahumma gfir lahu warhamhu wa akrim nuzulahu wa wasi' mudkhalahu wa ghsilhu bil ma'i. Whatever dua you know, you just make dua for the deceased. And then we say Allahu Akbar, and then we make taslim. If you take 1 taslim to the right and that's it, it's fine. If you make 2 taslim, it is fine as well. Now, who deserves the most to lead the Salat al-Janazah? Number 1 is the Imam. Imam, not the Imam. Because Imam has many meanings. Imam, in our culture nowadays, as a Muslim, when we hear the word of Imam, we think it's somebody who leads the prayer in the masjid. No. Imam, you can call Imam the leaders if the whole Muslim world to come to one country today. We have a 57 Muslim country. The right way in our faith in Islam to be a one country, we have a one Imam. Imam means the leader. Linguistically, Imam means he's the leader. Now we separate. In Islam, there is no separation politics from religion. It's all. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was a messenger. He was an imam in the prayer, right? He was a warrior. He was leading the army. he was a judge. When people come, they came to him to judge among themselves. فلا وربك لا يؤمنون حتى يحكموك فيما شجر بينهم ثم لا يجدوا في أنفسهم حرجا مما قضيت ويسلموا تسليما. So he was all. So in Islam you cannot separate. He distributed the zakat when the car corrupted and bring it. The Rasul distributed among the Sahaba. So if the imam means, let's say we have a community imam, Amir, for example, we have Amir. Let's say in the state of Maryland, we have Amir. We should have Amir as a Muslim. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you are 3 people and you are traveling, one of the 3 should be Amir. Now, if we have Amir, he will be the one who leading the Salat al-Janazah. If we don't have Amir, we have a local imam in the masjid. The local imam, if the Janazah happen in MCC, the sunnah is the imam of the masjid to lead the Janazah. Some ulama, they said, it's a sunnah, the closest to one person male, to lead the son of the deceased, the grandsons, the father, the grandfather, those to lead the salah. And the reason the ulama, they said the leader of the believers should be the one who leads the Salat al-Janazah. There is a hadith that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا يؤمن الرجل الرجل في سلطانه. The person who is in charge should be the one who leads the Salah. Now, one of the sisters, she asked me, how about Salat al-Ghaib? Somebody died somewhere. Should we do Salat al-Ghaib? Okay. If the person died there is a different opinion among the ulama. Some said, yes, we can do Salat al-Ghaib. Salat al-Janazah al-Ghaib, we can do it. Some ulama, they say no. Where is the difference come from? In action, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he did Salat al-Ghaib. He did it. He did Janazah prayer on behalf of someone who is absent, who was not there. That was Najashi, the king of Abyssinia, Habasha. They used to call Abyssinia. So the king of Abyssinia, Najashi, who reverted to Islam because of the Muslim who immigrated to Ethiopia, from Mecca to Ethiopia. When he listened to the Quran, he believed the Quran, he became a Muslim. After he died, Jibril alayhi salam, he informed the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam called a Salatu Jami'ah. So the Sahaba, they came, and the Messenger performed Salat al-Janazah on behalf of Najashi who died in Ethiopia at that time. Based on that, the majority of the ulama, they said it is okay to do Salat al-Janazah al-Ghaib on behalf of somebody who died. Anyway, other ulama, they say no. We only do Salat al-Janazah al-Ghaib if nobody bury the person. We know somebody died somewhere and nobody performs Salat al-Janazah on behalf of that person, then we should do Salat al-Janazah al-Ghaib. However, if the person already a Muslim, some Muslims, they did his Janazah prayer, we should not do it. Some, they said we should not do Salat al-Janazah. Then how they explain the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He did. They said that was exclusive only for Najashi. And their reason is, they said the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that was the only time that he did Salat al-Janazah al-Ghaib on behalf of Najashi. And a lot of his companions, they died far away from Medina in his lifetime. And he didn't do any Salat al-Janazah ghaib for them. So based on that, they said, we don't do any Salat al-Janazah ghaib for anybody. That was, we call al-khusus. There was some exclusiveness. So to that, yes. Any question?
Well, let's move on.
Let's move on. MashaAllah.
Questions will come later.
Now the sister, now your question is coming. How about if we cannot wash the person? For example, we said man should not wash a sister, and a sister died among men that none of them is her mahram. What we should do? Should the man just wash the sister? No, they do tayammum. Or if the person, let's say the person have a disease that the people are afraid that they may spread, or the body become pieces. Subhanallah, yesterday I was listening a physician, American physician who went to Gaza. He said, he was talking about what he saw in his eye. He said there was a children who shredded, the children, because of the bomb, they become pieces. And the children that is neighbors, they shoot them 1, 2, 3 times. And he said there is no reason you can say it was a mistake. If it's a mistake, 1 time is enough. 1, 2, 3 times the bullet. And subhanAllah, you ask yourself, aren't they human? Don't they know that all of us as a human being, we came from one single family? Where is the humanity? And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposing the entire humanity. Allah exposing the Muslim people who call themselves a Muslim, who's not doing nothing to their Muslim brothers and sisters. Wallahi, there is a hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, if a Muslim need help and the other Muslims, they abandon him, they didn't give hand, Allah will abandon them in the day of judgment. That's main concern. The people are just, and sometimes, and I mentioned this many times in my khutbah, sometimes we as a Muslim Americans who are here in America, far away from what happened, we say, yes, I feel the pain, but brother, I cannot do nothing. My hand is tied. Wallahi, that's not true, brothers and sisters. I told the brothers and sisters, there is a certain things. There is a long term and short term. In the short term, we as a Muslim community members, we should reach out all the elected officials in our state. And every Muslim community, whatever state they are, they should reach out, they should call, they should knock their doors, they should make them uncomfortable. But you know what? We are not doing that because we want to relax. We don't want to take that time from our work, from our convenience, and go there and spend it sometimes to support and help our brothers and sisters. That's the short term. In the long term, it's beneficial for us and them too. It is if we organize ourselves and register, do voter registration and involve in the local politics. This county we are sitting now, Montgomery County, they estimate the Muslim population between 7 to 12%. The population of Montgomery County is 1.1 million. Okay, if the Muslim community are 7%, that means 70,000 Muslims are here. If they are 12%, that means 120,000 are here. If they organize themselves, nobody can hold an office in Montgomery County without the vote of the Muslim community, whether it's a county council, whether it's county executive or board of education or directors. No office requires a vote that somebody can hold without the vote of the Muslim community. Is that costing us a lot of money? No, just because small time. To organize ourselves and be united. But guess what? When someone come and say, oh brothers, let's do this, they say, oh, why is doing this? What is his agenda? We want to make money? That's not the. So inshallah, I know this is out of the topic. We're talking about a lot of things. But it's just encouragement to do something, inshallah. Now, so is that clear? If we cannot wash the person, maybe he's very cut pieces, or it's a sister and there's our brother, there's no brothers there to wash, or the person has some certain diseases. That situation, it will be tayammum, and the person will be. Finally, if someone die in the battlefield, what do we do? If someone die in the battlefield, we don't wash. And we don't do Salat al-Janazah for that person. لا يغسل ولا يصلى عليه. Just and the person will be, his kafan will be the clothes that he was wearing. And the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that that person will come in the day of judgment when the blood is just as wet as the time that he got injured. Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And also the muhrim, the person who instead of ihram, we already explained that. So we don't need to. Now, what is the right things we do to when we, doing the definite, when we are burying the person? And here also, there's a lot of jahiliyyah related to this. A couple of weeks ago, I was in the cemetery. We were burying a Muslim brother, and I told them to, before they lowered, because there was no people inside the grave, they just put something and they just do like this, and this. So before they do that, I told the family, you untie the nuts. They say, no, and make sure you untie the nuts and make sure the face is toward the Qibla. They say, no, don't worry about it, just do it. Jahiliyyah. And that's not a time to educate people because it's emotional time. So there's a lot of jahiliyyah that we really need to, pay attention and talk to the community. And I think everyone who is parent, they should tell their children how to be buried after they die. It's something very good. And there's a lot of ignorance in the Muslim community. So and the sunnah is to bring the body from the where is the foot of the person, we call rijl al-qabr, the foot of the grave, and then we put the person, and of course the way we do here now, and the way we do in the Muslim country is a little bit different, because in the Muslim country we do something we call lahd. Lahd means they dig on the ground and they make a hole, and then on the side they make another hole. So when they bring in the body, they put in that hole and they cover, and they fill dirty on that big area. So that's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. However, the minimum requirement when you bury someone is حفرة تستر الميت وتحرسه من السباع. It's a small hole that covers the body and protect the body, the animals to eat it or smell it. Once you do that, that's enough. But the sunnah is to dig deep into the ground and make a hole on the side and put the body in that place and cover it with something, rocks or mud or whatever it is, and then fill the other area. Yes, so that's it. I will stop there, and inshallah, any question?
We have to remind Dr. Hussein Dr. Hussein has something to share, and then we'll bring Sister Camilla, and then we'll have the question and answer session.
Well, people of
Thank you so much.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. That's okay, this will be fine. My presentation will be kind of unprepared simply because of the fact that yesterday founding members of the MCC as well as ICM, Dr. Abdullah Shamim, his wife passed away. That was such a difficult time for me not to be there. So I told Sukai that I may not be able to make the presentation because I would like to go for Salat al-Janazah for her. And that's what I did. And so I asked my great friend and knowledgeable person, Dr. Hassan Adris, to join me in the presentation. So we will try to do it together and see what we could do. Basically, as it says that how do you prepare for the burial when a death takes place in the family? And this question arises in the mind of many of us when that happens, but we don't realize that we are all going to die one day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned that repeatedly in the Quran about that, but it so happened that we being human beings, we don't really are ready to accept that fact of life. But that is a fact. كل من عليها فان. And that's why it is always difficult when that happens in a family and then it becomes very emotional and very draining on the family and we are not prepared for it. And that is where the difficulty arises even for people who may be able to help them out. And so we had prepared a booklet. Most of you may have gotten this booklet. This booklet explains to you very clearly what steps we have to take in order to do our part in fulfilling this duty, which is very crucial for us in our lives. And so, as it says that the MCC Funeral Committee can help you on those process, but it is the family who will have to take part, the active part. They will have to really decide who is going to be in charge in this activity. And for that reason, it is most important that you designate a lead person in the family to sign the papers and will be taken to a place where the ghusl will be done. And that responsibility is in the family. And as our Imam already explained, we have to some people designate to wash the body. And again, the Islamic principles of who will be washing the body, who will not be washing the body, and particularly a simple way of telling, as I could do it, is that if a female has passed, only ladies will be able to wash the body, and in the case of males, the men will wash the body. And again, if the family members, they have designated the people, that is the best to do it. So that is another thing which we have to remember. And the transportation certificate will have to be obtained, because once the body has to be picked up from the hospital or from the hospice, it has to have the certificate before the funeral home will go and pick up the body. So those are the couple of things initially you will be doing. And let's go to the next one. Okay. Now, basically, as you could see, that there are 4 important aspects which we have to really carefully plan. First of all, you have to decide where you are going to bury the body. And I pointed out very clearly that it will be the best thing to bury the body in a Islamic cemetery. And we do have one, although it is a little bit far away from here. About driving distance of about 45 minutes to maybe an hour even. And Islamic Al-Firdaus Cemetery in Frederick. And in fact, when the cemetery was created, it was created by the action of 3 masajid at that time: the Hagerstown Masjid, the Frederick Masjid, and the ICM people got together. At that time, they had the foresight to know that there is a place in Frederick they could buy and create not only that 100 acres of land for any kind of Islamic madrasa or even a locality over there, or a clinic, hospital, whatever, including a burial ground. So they designated 10 acres of land. There are 3 sections over there, and 10 acres of land in 3 sections. And this was done, if I remember correctly, something around 2005 or 2006. And lo and behold, the first section is almost finished. So things are moving fast. People, there are a lot of burial taking place. Alhamdulillah, those people who wants to bury their people in the Islamic cemetery, they are using that. So once you have decided, you should be calling the cemetery for paying the plot, the burial plot. The Frederick place, the Al-Firdaus, is the one which has put a price of $750 for the plot, just the plot. And they have never raised that price because they want to serve the community. From last 15 or more years, they have not raised the price. Otherwise, every place, the prices have gone up. Now, besides the finding out where you are going to bury, you have to also select a funeral home where the washing will take place, and we have some representative of a couple of funeral homes, Islamic funeral homes, Hussein Funeral Home, and Hakim, and Sister Kamila is here, Abdul Khalek, and these people, they have been doing the service. So you have to call them and tell them that this is what has happened, and then they will have the ball rolling. They will make the arrangements to pick up the body from the hospital or the hospice, take it over to the washing facility. PGMA has one of those facilities over there, and they have been working for quite some time now. ISB also has started, Alhamdulillah, and Frederick. So they will pick up the body and go over to these places for washing. And after the ghusl is done, they will again pick up the body and bring it to wherever the family wants to have the Salat al-Janazah. For that reason, they will have to decide which masjid they would like to have the Salat al-Janazah. And for that reason, you will have to then immediately call that masjid and talk to the imam so decide so that they know, and then they will make the announcement of such a Salat al-Janazah. And you could also request to include any other information along with when you are doing that. Again, as it has been emphasized very strongly, very clearly, it is preferred to bury locally when the death has taken place. Taking body to overseas is a possibility, but it's not the right possibility. Simply because of the fact that many of us may not realize when you are planning to take the body overseas, what they do is that they will drain the blood from the body and inject alcohol in it. It's a kind of alcohol. It's not the alcohol you drink, but it's a preservative alcohol. It is a kind of alcohol. So you are making the body najist. And how could you do that? You are not supposed to do that. You are doing something which is totally forbidden. So that is one of the big reasons it's preferable not to take the body overseas, but to do the burial right here and do it in Islamic cemetery. Okay? So those are the things, and as I mentioned to you, you'll have to call the cemetery to purchase the burial, and it will be in the booklet, you have a list of all the cemeteries in the area. Also, you have a list of all the massages to call with wherever you want to call. And that information with telephone numbers is available there. You could use it and make those calls. And in the burial, when it takes place, of course, this is very important that you have to remember that opening and closing costs are different from the price of the plot. To my knowledge, the cost of opening and closing of the plot varies from cemeteries to cemeteries, and in al-Firdaus, it comes to roughly about 3,400 or so. So in our case, that is the cheapest way, or should I place, least expensive, I should use the right word, least expensive burial place for us. Other places, as Imam mentioned, here on locally, the other places, Laurel and George Washington, the cost goes up to about $8,000 to $9,000. In our case, the total cost will not come more than between $4,000 and $5,000. So that is also a thing to remember and keep in consideration. And again, after the family has called the place, the representative of the family will sign the papers and visit the cemetery to be sure that it is properly done. And another thing to be most important to remember, whether that burial will take place on a weekday or a weekend. If it's on a weekend, sometimes the cemeteries, some of them may not be open. If they are open, they may have a very short period of time. I know that al-Firdaus usually closes at sunset. But other cemeteries, I know they close sometimes about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So you have to remember that. And in that, of course, you will need a casket. And transportation, I already talked about. So it is very important that the family realizes that their participation will make the things easier. But because of the time of death, people are so emotional that they think that things other will take care of this issue, which is not really the case. So far as the financial aspects of it concerned, MCC being the oldest, one of the oldest masajids in this area, Many people know about MCC. Throughout the country, they know about MCC. But other massages which got established a little bit later, they may be known outside, but MCC definitely is known throughout. So you will be surprised that I had gotten calls from Texas 3 days ago, that there is a person who has passed away here, and the person who wanted to talk to me was talking from Texas, and she was telling me how could we help. I said, how did you know about MCC? And she said, no, I used to live here, and I know it's one of the oldest massages over there. That is fine. Our masjid is known outside, that is great, but at the same time, we have limits. We cannot support each and every person. So if we need some help, there will be partial help we will provide. But that partial help will also depend upon certain criteria, that the income of the person, 2 or 3 most important, I would say, is the income of the person, and also about the fact that whether the person is in the community here. Outside the community, they could be a person from any place. Somebody died, say, 25, 30 miles from here, and it's not part of the MCC. There are other massages over there. If somebody that takes place in Frederick, there's a masjid in Frederick. There's a masjid in Gettysburg. They should go to those massages and ask their help than coming to MCC. So overloading this on the MCC is not another thing you should be remembering. You cannot do that. It's not possible. We have our own limits. So remember that when such thing happens, try to approach your own local masjid over there. And if they cannot help, then maybe MCC could also try to do something, but not the total expenses of such a burial. Okay. As we mentioned, you will have to call the Imam immediately as soon as you have decided in which masjid you want to have the Salat al-Janazah. And of course, as mentioned, you could schedule the Janazah prayer and request the Janazah prayer to be announced in the community. And whatever other information you may want to add, you could ask to add that information. As I already mentioned about the cost of the burial, it is not a fixed cost. It keeps varying depending upon the places you go, or also as inflation is going on. This booklet was written about 4 or 5 years ago, and by this time, I think the prices we are quoting over there is between 4,000 and 5,000, but it may be now much more than that because of that change. As it's mentioned now, it is between $5,000 and $8,000. We don't have any burial plots, unfortunately, and as Imam was mentioning, hopefully someday we will have that. And also we don't have a ghusl facility here. We are working hard to have it so that at least that cost will be reduced, and at the same time that will be most convenient to our community. Inshallah, shortly, maybe in a year, 2 years, hopefully, I hope. We have worked very hard on it, and the board had approved for such a ghusl facility here at MCC, and the board of trustees were looking into it, and they are saying that they will try to finish it up as soon as possible, and let's hope that that will be the case. Any other questions now? Yeah, these are some of the list of the funeral committee members, and you could call these numbers when you need some help regarding this. And as I mentioned in the booklet, you have list of funeral homes, list of cemeteries and list of masajis you will be contacting, and their numbers and names of the people over there if available. Otherwise, it will be a number where you will have to call and see if who is there to answer your call. And in case of our committee, you are more than welcome to call anytime you wish. We will be more than happy to help our community as much as possible. This is our responsibility. This is our duty towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah give us the reward for that, what we are doing. May Allah reward you all for coming today for this workshop and trying to get the information which is very, very important and necessary for all to remember, to prepare yourself for that day ahead of time, financially, mentally, in whichever way is possible. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to add a comment. Jazakallah khair for the presentation. It's very important as each one of us that is here, we also need to pass on this message. There are so many times we've gotten phone calls, and you'll be amazed. People that call themselves Muslims, they are so disoriented. They appear so unknowledgeable about this process. So it is important that we know, everybody knows they have to do janazah, they have to do burial, but what does it take to do the burial? They don't even know. Oh, they think MCC is going to go buy the plot for them. Oh, my family died. Oh, what do you do? MCC is supposed to take care of everything for them. So it's important that we educate, we share this information with anyone, all Muslims. Jazakallah.
If there are any questions, please do ask questions, but otherwise, I think it's pretty straightforward, very simple.
Yes, sister. Go ahead.
I'm here. Maybe they can stand up.
Since the burial cost is a little expensive, it should be hard for everybody. Is it halal to have life insurance? And is it halal to use that money for burial costs for our family? The second question I have, my sister has birthday, so I am here with couples. Are Muslims allowed to be buried in coffins? If not, what is that plan doing around us?
I'll let the scholar, our sheikh, our imam. It's beyond my knowledge.
So basically, life insurance, and because the burial insurance, it included in the life insurance, and sometimes also is separated. People, they can purchase that. There is a different opinion. It's something new. You know, usually in our faith in Islam, when something new, we make the similarity about, we look at the Quran, is there any ayah talking about something similar to this? If we don't have it, is there any hadith? Is there any incident happened in the past? If we don't have those things, because we don't have that type of life insurance, something new, okay, burial insurance. And it happened to me when there was a man, he was a lawyer, he was an old man, he has only one daughter, and his daughter, she was a lawyer. And he did all these things. He has life insurance, he have burial insurance. So he passed away. He reverted to Islam when he was 80 years old. And there was a Muslim brother who was taken care of, and he wrote his, subhanAllah, he gave power of attorney. Wallahi, that was the most strange things I witnessed since I was in MC. The man was a very rich man. His daughter, she's a lawyer too. So the man, he passed away. The brother, a Muslim brother, he found out immediately. A funeral home came and take the body. And he called him, well, why are you taking this? They say, no, it was in his will that if I die, this funeral home should wash my body. And his daughter, she came. She doesn't care even when he was alive, but she know because it's a billionaires. When she found out he died, she came to collect the, and to the funeral home. And the brother came to me and he said, "This is the situation. What should I do?" So I asked the first question. I asked him, "Do you have a power of attorney? Did he give you power of attorney?" He said, "Yes." I said, "No problem. This is easy." So we just faxed the power of attorney. I told him, "Give me." We faxed the power of attorney to the funeral home, and we told him, "This man, he's a Muslim. He referred to the faith of Islam. This is his shahada, his certificate. This is the power of attorney he gave this gentleman. So we need him to bury according to the Islamic law. We need him to release to a Muslim funeral home." We sent that to the funeral home. Immediately, this is it's very good when you organize things, it's good in this country. They did not even ask any question. Once they saw the power of attorney, he has a power of attorney, even his daughter, who is a lawyer, she just backed off. We sent the funeral from BGMA, they went to the other funeral home, the Muslim home, they just take the body and khalas. We did the Janazah here at MCC. So to make things, to answer your question, some scholars, they said this, life insurance and all things is okay. But the majority of the ulama, they say no. You cannot put insurance in your life. The majority say no, but there is one of the scholars that is very well respected in the Middle East. He said, this is especially for those families who have a lot of children and stuff like that, it's okay to have life insurance. And he, subhanAllah, he quoted an ayah in Surah An-Nisa, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يخشى الذين لو تركوا من خلفهم ذرية ضعافا خافوا عليهم فليتقوا الله وليقولوا قولا سديدا. He said, based on this ayah, and based on the circumstances that we are in right now, based on my fatwa to say it's okay, life insurance, it's okay to have funeral insurance. There was another question, right?
Yes, actually, all the questions, Sister Camilla can answer it.
Yeah.
She was all right, so you want to take home from that. Is it okay with you?
I'm not giving fatwa. Don't quote me. I have no knowledge about this. I'm not in a point to give fatwa. I'm telling you, I'm just explaining to you what the ulama said about this. Then do what you feel comfortable. Because a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, before even he asked his question, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, he said, "Ji'ta tas'alu 'anil birri?" You came to me to ask me about birr? In the Sahabi said, "Yes, Ya Rasulullah, I came to you to ask you." Birr means something good, righteous. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Istafti qalbak." Say, ask yourself. البر ما اطمأنت إليه النفس واطمأن إليه القلب والإثم ما حاك في نفسك وتردد في الصدر وإن أفتاك الناس وافتوك. Say the good things is things you feel comfortable when you do it. You have no doubt. And he said, sin is things that, it go back and forth in your heart. And the Messenger said, وَإِنْ أَفْتَاكَ النَّاسُ وَافْتَوْكَ. Even if the people give you fatwa, still it's tough to help. Yeah. So and also circumstance and conditions and the situation is also they are different. Yes.
So at this point we'll invite Sister Camilla from the Universal
Why don't you tell them to stand up? Because they've been sitting here for the past 2 hours.
So Sister Camilla will
scratch. And Sister Camilla, she's gonna do the
no, she's gonna come and talk about her work experiences first,
Okay.
right? And then she'll give us a demonstration on how to Yes, ma'am. Who's coming here? Yeah. So she'll tell us our work experience. And after that, sister, then we'll do the demonstration, and then we'll have a question and answer session. Yes, sister, come on, you're first.
Assalamu alaikum. I will try to make this as short as I can, because I do want us to see if we can go to the back and actually get together, sisters on one table, brothers on the other table, and do a sample of what it feels like to be in a prep room and do a washing. And again, my name is Casey Camilla Martin, and I work for Universal Mortuary in Washington, D.C., Kennedy Street. We've been here since 1988, serving the Muslim community, Muslim-owned funeral home. So I want you to take out your phones. Everybody take out your phone. And I'm just gonna refer you to a couple of sites so I can just kind of focus on a couple of things. Imam gave it Islamically, spiritually. The Brother Hussein gave it top to bottom, everything that you need to focus on. But I wanna pay attention to a few things. I'm a funeral director, licensed in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And so there are regulations and laws and rules that you have to abide by to make sure that we're in compliance with the law. So again, spiritually, but knowing also everything that we're supposed to do from top to bottom, but also knowing the law, right? And I'll try to touch on a little bit of the insurance part. The insurance part is just important only because it's so expensive. My cost is $30, $45. Other people's costs might be a little different. But we've been around since 1988. We started really low. We probably go up $100 every couple of years. So we've been around a long time, and we do have to kind of trickle up because we have a whole funeral home, a whole full service Muslim funeral home with a couple of hearses and everything. And so we've been around for a long time. So everybody have the phones out? Okay. Go onto this website, www.umi Funerals. So that's Universal Mortuary Incorporated Funerals with an S on the end, .com. And I'm gonna lead you to a couple of our applications and forms. Some people might have a form that looks like this, but if you don't, the site has it, and you can go on the site and see the intake sheet and form that's very important. This intake sheet and form is so that we will be able to have your permission to be able to pick up, and also to be able to file a death certificate. So just like we have a birth certificate, we have a death certificate. So everybody got the form on the website? So on this form, it's very important to have a death certificate. So everybody's gonna have one when we pass away. And this will be your name, your next of kin's name, your race, where you're from, whether or not you have a spouse, your parents' names, social security number, things of that nature. This is the first thing we start with when the time comes and someone says, well, I just had a call a few minutes ago, his stepson passed away. And so what he needs to start with is the form. Fill out the forms. And in this case, he has to fill out a form for the medical examiner. So the medical examiner has a release form that says that they're going to make sure to have the proper person to release the body. So that means you can't just have a cousin in a district. You can't just have a cousin to come and represent you. You have to have your truest next of kin. So everybody has the different rules and laws. Maryland is easy. Virginia is a little harder. DC is a little harder. So DC and Virginia, they won't let you have the body until they have the proper person to sign. That is your spouse, that is your child or parent. I have had a parent pass. I've had a son pass, and his mother went to go to retrieve his body out of the medical examiner's office, and they would not give that body over to the mother. Why? he had a son out there, an estranged son that he hadn't had a relationship with in a while, that was the only one that could fill out that form. So there are laws, there is Islam, but there's the rules and the laws that we have to at least understand and know and abide by. But with a will, as the brother said, with a will, I did have another person who wasn't a relative at all, they were a friend, and they had a will, and that will superseded over anything and everybody. She had all the paperwork in order. So we have also, I'm going to at least give you my email as well. Everybody write this down if you have an opportunity, or put it in your phones. Yes, I think it's on there on my card, kcmrtn2@gmail.com. Email me and ask me for a Janazah packet. And in the Janazah packet, it's a basic will, so you have something, right? It'll be an intake sheet similar to this. It'll be some top to bottom information, who we are, we've been around for a while, but it also have a will. And also in the back of it, it'll have medical directives, what happens to you, who you want to take care of you when you're in the hospital. And some people have no one, and some people have only Christian relatives, right? And so when you have that, and everybody in your family is a Christian and you're the only Muslim, then that means that it's possible they'll have a Christian funeral service for you, and you don't want that to happen. It does happen very often. We try to prevent that. So you got your intake sheet, your death certificate, that's very important. We all need one, and it needs to be correct. Also inside of my website is a general price list. General price list is to be given by every funeral home. It is against the law for someone not to provide that to you so that you know how much things cost, right? And so on my website, it's a breakdown of what all the different costs are. And you know, we have to have a general price list that will consider everyone, Christian, Muslim, or anyone. But inside of my general price list, where you see immediate burial, that's what we are. That's who we are as Muslims. We have immediate burials to be buried within 1 to 3 days, desirably, typically. Sometimes it has to change depending on the issue, your money, whether or not you have any money, you know, whether or not you need the help from the community, as brother said. She called from Texas just to have help, because my cost is $3,000. But the cemetery, a basic cemetery like George Washington, Washington National Cemetery, Maryland National Cemetery, those ones that we drive by all the time, they are about $8,000 to $9,000. And unless you have that money already in the bank, it's hard pulling it together, you know, and it's hard watching people have to pull that money together. It's possible, but it's a difficult process. And so sometimes people can't get buried as quickly. But put that money aside in the bank, get to myself or another funeral home and have that money in a burial fund if you only want to focus on that particular amount. So that would be, if you come to me, it's $3,000 that we would work on setting aside for you, and I put in an escrow account. The cemetery does the same thing. So that means that you're only focusing on the cemetery and the funeral home, nothing else. And the problem with life insurance is, are you gonna get a $10,000 life insurance policy, a $30,000 life insurance policy, a $100,000 life insurance policy, $1 million life insurance policy? Just too much. That means that someone is benefiting off your death, right? We do want to at least have something to have curb to keep from losing your house or something like that, but not to benefit off of your death. So if you were to have life insurance, which I'm not suggesting either to do, because that is a decision that you have to make based off of your assets, think based off of what you have. Do you have a house? Do you have cars? How much of it needs to still be paid if you pass away and you don't want it to all go into default, right? That's the hard part, making that type of decision based off of all of the things that we've acquired in our lifetime. So life insurance, I would talk to Imam again, or talk to your family, but don't overdo it with life insurance because it does have riba, connected to it. Don't go overboard with life insurance. So again, that's 3 for me and about 9 with the cemetery. So that's about $13,000 to $15,000 at the most. You're just getting the basics. The other problem with life insurance is life insurance takes about a week for it to verify. So it could be 1 to 7 days before they actually call back and say, okay, yes, it's good. You can't just call them automatically and say, is it good? And they say, oh, yes, it's good. Well, they have to go back into their files and their system to see whether or not any loans were taken out, have all the payments been made. And you have probably heard in the past that people have life insurance policies, and if they don't make a payment for a couple of payments, they'll lose the whole thing. Right, so you have to be really careful with life insurance. You've got to really talk about it. You've got to really look at it. You've got to see what it is that you have, right, if you even consider it. But it's good only because it's so expensive. That's the only reason why you at least consider it. Because passing away is just $13,000. Now, looking at the Muslim cemeteries, it's cut in half at least. Right, so you've got the one that's an all-Muslim cemetery out in Stafford, Virginia. They're the least expensive, $1,700. And I think they will allow you to prepay today. So that means that you will have a site, $1,700 that will be covered and yours, right? That means that when the time comes, it doesn't go up on price. You can go back to it and it's there and it's available. I have people that did life insurance, a funeral pre-need with me 20 years ago, because I've been doing this for 20 years, and maybe their price was at the time $14.95. They come to me and they don't have to pay anything because it's done. It was done a long time ago. Same thing applies at the cemeteries. You can do anything ahead of time. But when you do it ahead of time, it's locked into that price. So right now, today, it's $9,000. If you pay it all at one time, that means your prices won't go up anymore, right? That makes sense? But it will continue to trickle up if you don't do anything, right? So you either gotta have your money in the bank, you've gotta go to the funeral home to get it prepared, you gotta go to the cemetery to get it prepared so that it will just be a funeral cost or a cemetery cost, not dealing with insurance that will be much more money. $1 million policy on somebody's head is not good. So keep it basic if you do anything. So forms, payments, how much it costs, and the cemetery is what we've talked about so far. Does anybody have any particular questions? Yes, ma'am. Like I'm saying.
So with the prepaid plan, what are the conditions that it's either refundable or transferable if the person dies perhaps maybe in another state and you want to bury them in another state? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
It's not transferable. If it's me, if it happens and a person is in another state, we just give the money back to the family. But if it is a cemetery, you have to sell that land to someone else. It's still there, it's still available, it's still good. So don't look at it negatively, right? Because you can still give it to someone or sell it to someone for the lesser cost that you paid for it a long time ago. But you can't sell it back to the cemetery. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, I was naive in this insurance stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am India now for over how many years?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's a privilege for me to come and learn this one. since I'm in the insurance time now, so what should I do? So
Do you have life insurance?
I have life insurance,
And
the one where if I'm gone,
Mhm.
my family will have something,
Mhm.
and they say at the age of 75,
Mm.
I will be having something, or 65, something like that.
It will be done.
Yeah.
It sounds like a term, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not against life insurance. I just think that you should definitely be informed. Yes. And life insurance with that term, you almost have to die, at 65, when the time is up, or what's going to happen is that you'll have to reevaluate, go back to them, and you'll probably pay a higher price. But you'll at least have it for a while. So the goal with term is for you to be covered for a period of time. And say, for instance, 65, all of your children are grown and everybody's already out of the house. So you don't have to worry about little children that you wonder who's going to take care of them and what money is going to be left behind to take care of them. Or a house that you're trying to keep going. And say, for instance, at 65, 75, you move to another community, or you move with one of your children, you don't need it anymore the same way, right? So, but your life insurance, I think, is good to keep as long as it is not overly priced, not so high priced, but it's not gonna last that long. I had a lady, she had been saying, hey, Sister Casey, I got this life insurance policy on my mom who was 90 years old. Well, at the time, she might have been 88 or something, right? And I said, okay, great, you have something, right? You don't need to come to me and pay anything. I don't want you to come and pay anything to me unnecessarily. I think you're good, right? You just have to wait a little while when the time comes in. Her mother was Christian. Well,
Sorry.
yes, ma'am. The policy ended at the age of 91. And she lived to be 92. So then that means that at 91, the policy was no good. So all of those years that she had been holding on to that policy, and she thought everything would be okay, and at 90 years old, you think, I'm gonna be good. 92 years old came about, and she had to come to me and say, I need to now pay you for the life insurance, the burial. It worked out, because of course it didn't cost too much, $3,000. At the time, it probably was $27.95. But she did still have to take care of the cemetery. And so for her mother, who's Christian, it's at least $9,000. At least with the Muslim community, we've got a benefit. We've got people that have bought cemetery sites, have bought whole cemeteries to say, no longer do you need to pay $9,000. Al-Firdaus is what, 35, right? 3,500. Very Muslim is 4,500. Muslim cemetery is 1,700. So it's much more reasonable for a Muslim than it is for our non-Muslim. There's no benefit out there for non-Muslims, but at least we have a benefit, which is alhamdulillah.
So, Assalamualaikum, brothers and sisters. Can we hold on to the question just a little bit so that we can move on to the last part of our event, and then we have